Doctor. It is time for a talk with the finance doctor. So the gentleman that I am bringing before you now, he has his PhD in finance and economics. He is definitely helping a lot of people. He's having a lot of fun. He has over 25 years experience. His PhD, finance and economics, I'm telling you, we've been working together. He's been helping individuals. I have a lot of respect for this individual. I mean, he's here tonight. This is your RX for Forex. You will understand the why behind the what. It's important to understand why you're doing what you're doing. So I'm excited. I'm excited to turn this call over. I'm excited to introduce to some of you all and represent to the rest. Dr. Craig Bythewood. Dr. Bythewood, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Ms. Tasha M. Dyer. Thank you very much for a wonderful introduction as always. Thank you very much for everything that you do for this Be Your Own Bank movement, your consistency, your excellence, your servant heart. We really do appreciate you. So I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex. So I want to make sure that everyone is aware on why I get so excited about these 2 hours a week. This Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern and Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. I'll be the first to admit to you that they're 2 of my favorite times of the week because it is organic for me to want to pour into individuals. That's just the type of person I am. But this group has always been an exciting group for me to deal with because here represents a group of individuals that have made a commitment to themselves. A group of individuals that has made a commitment to their families. I get excited sometimes right before the call when I look at these rectangles because I know that each one of these rectangles represents a group of people behind you, a family, a community, a group, a mastermind group. So literally, you're the one in your circle who understood the wisdom of plugging into this call. And when you go away, being better off from a trading perspective, being better off from a mindset perspective, being better off in the way in which you view the market, and more importantly, the way in which you view yourself, you have an opportunity to touch so many lives. And that is what the whole Be Your Own Bank, touching 1 million families by March 2021 is all about. It's all about the coaching and mentoring spirit that we have amongst each other. Because I know that when you hear Ms. Dyer say something of value, you go and speak it to those individuals outside of your rectangle. When you hear Mr. Gerald Rogers make a point that is significant, you're going to make that point again to individuals outside of your rectangle. When you're following the chats on these calls, the chats in Telegram, and someone makes a valid point or someone puts a meme or someone provides a picture that moves you, you're going to go outside of these rectangles and speak to that. And so to me, these calls are more than just 30 minutes of my time. These calls are literally the vehicle that can be utilized to put us on the other side of wealth and abundance, and more importantly, put us on the other side of thinking at things differently. If we're really real about this, if we can real talk for a second, or as my daughter say, period. If we really look at it with a period at the end, we have to recognize that one of the reasons why we're so hungry for this information, one of the reasons why we're so hungry for this skill set is because we represent families, communities, cultures, nations that may have not had the opportunity to experience what we can experience right now. So to me, it's big. The things that I will say to you for the next 25 minutes, I am very confident that when you go outside of this rectangle and speak those things, that it can change a life. And that is what it's all about. That's what makes me excited about getting up in the morning. That's what gives me a great deal of anticipation around 9:55 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday, because I know I have that opportunity. So what I would like to do tonight is I would like to talk about a very interesting trading phenomenon, a very interesting way of solidifying the way our trading regimen works, a very research-based mechanism to evaluate our trading strategy. And I want to discuss how that relates to our everyday life. If you've been on any of my calls, you know I say it all the time. How we do one thing is how we do all things. And literally, we live in a universe where every single part of the universe is connected. Proof? Do an analysis of the earth. 75% of the earth is water. I had a business partner of mine ask me earlier about cities in the state of Florida and asked the question about those cities that were by the water versus those cities that were not by the water. And when I thought about it, I realized all Florida cities are by the water, because if it's not on the coast, then there are a multiplicative number of lakes and ponds that keep this state flowing. I mean, after all, I live in a state that is a peninsula. So it is surrounded by water on three sides. Or you could look at it a different way. As a country, it's the same way. We've got the Pacific Ocean, we've got the Atlantic Ocean, then we've got the Gulf of Mexico. I said all of that just to say this. 75% of the earth is covered by water. 75% of my state is covered by water. But watch this. 75% of my body contains water. Is that a coincidence? Is it just a random fact of nature that as we operate in this society, as we operate in this world, as we operate in this universe, we have the same molecular structure as the earth that we're on? Of course not. It is all connected. I remember when I first started really studying the connectivity of the earth. It happened when I was with a group of my daughter's friends, and they were all talking about the types of shoes that they wanted to wear to a party. So it was a really big deal to them that they all had on the same type of shoes, and they got in their closet and they talked about that the two sets of shoes they were going to wear were either these are middle school girls at the time, we're either going to wear Vans or we're going to wear low-top Converse. So I'm sitting here laughing at this conversation because it was so serious and it was so deliberate, and they literally made this list as if it was so important that that is what they did. This was a Friday night. The next morning, I watched my favorite show, which happens to be College Football Game Day. And College Football Game Day was in Texas. So as I was looking at all of the fans in Texas, they did an interview of some middle school girls and asked them how important it was for them to follow their team. So as the camera panned out on these middle school young ladies, I noticed they either had on Vans or low-top Converses. Well, I know that my daughters and her friends didn't have a conversation with those young ladies in Texas. It wasn't enough time. I also know there's no connection between my daughters and her friends in middle school in Tampa, Florida, and those young ladies in that particular situation in Texas. But what it did was it reminded me of a fundamental truth. At all times, ladies and gentlemen, there is a connected energy that operates between all of us. So if we think about that and we understand that, we can recognize that just as the energy of wearing Vans or low-top Converses can be spread amongst the country, so can the energy of wealth and abundance. So can the energy of being able to build your business. I wonder how many of us are building our business in fear. Oh, nobody's going to be interested in this. Oh, what are they going to think? Oh, what are they going to talk about? But if instead we recognize that the same reason why you're hungry for it is the same reason why other people will be hungry for it. And when you build your business in that energy of, just like I've got on Vans and low-top Converses, they're going to have on Vans and low-top Converses, and you automatically put yourself in the right mindset, in the right energy to be able to succeed. So here's my real point. Here's the real reason why I'm bringing this up. There's a comment that Tasha M. Dyer makes a lot that is made as a mechanism of convincing, a mechanism of evaluation, a mechanism of providing proof. And she says, the be your own bank strategy has a 92% accuracy rate. And when she says that, she's speaking truth. It does have a 92% accuracy rate. But oftentimes when she's making that claim, she'll come back in and say, it was back tested. It was back tested. And just to make sure we're all comfortable with the exact word she's saying when she makes that reference, back, B-A-C-K, which simply means we're going backwards. And we're looking at all of the times in which the be your own bank cash out strategy was utilized, and we're looking at the percentage of wins versus the overall times in which there were trades, and that numerical breakdown is 92%. Everyone, please make sure that you have microphones. So what I'd like to do right now, is understanding that energetically we're all connected. Understanding that quantum physicists have said for years that if they walk down to the ocean and they receive a drop of the ocean and they put it in their little dropper, and then they got back to their nerd microscopes and they put that drop of water on the microscope, that the molecular breakdown will be exactly the same as the breakdown in the ocean. So one drop of ocean has the same molecular properties of the entire ocean. Interesting how I call them a nerd, but I'm the one dropping science on microscopes and quantum physicists. So my point is simply that what happens in one scenario happens in all scenarios. The slice of the universal pie is the same as the entire pie. So if Miss Tasha Dyer is so adamant about saying to you, listen, this 92% accuracy rate, be your own bank master traders, has been back tested. That says to me that we have the same power to do the exact same things for ourselves. Oftentimes on a talk with the finance doctor, I've taken trading patterns and I've showed you how it relates to our lives. For example, I've often said that anytime we have an opportunity to do something good, to do something that allows us to reach another paradigm, there's always a rock back. And the rock back happens, and the more the rock back, the higher the incline. That's exactly what happens in the trading world. I've oftentimes made the point that a particular pattern will start to really grow once it breaks through a resistance point. And the same thing happens with us. Every time we have an opportunity to do something different, all the resistance shows up. And if we break through that resistance, if we keep fighting, if we keep going, if we keep taking one step, African proverb, how does an ant eat an elephant? One bite at a time. If we just take one more bite, we'll break through the resistance. So it occurred to me that maybe we should ask ourselves, what happens when we do a back test on ourselves? What happens when we do a back test on everything that we've accomplished up to this point? What happens when we do a back test on everything that has happened up until the present? So to put this in perspective, let me share this with you. There is an analogy I often use. And I normally use it to close calls, to close speeches, but right now it's relevant in the middle of this one. And this particular analogy involves a couple that was in Phoenix, Arizona. And this couple decided that they were going to go to San Diego, California. So if I could set this up for you visually, here is Phoenix, Arizona. Here is San Diego, California. And this is pretty accurate geographically, because if you leave this call now and look at a map, you'd see that Phoenix and San Diego are essentially a straight shot. Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego, California. Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego, California. So this couple decided to travel from Phoenix, Arizona to San Diego, California. They would get in their RV, their recreational vehicle. And so what they decided to do was to get in their recreational vehicle, and they decided to drive to San Diego, California. Now, the mechanism that this couple decided to utilize to get from point A to point B was a GPS, a geographical positioning. Oh gosh, what's the S stand for? A GPS. So they used the GPS, and the GPS was working fine to take them, thank you, system, to take them from Phoenix, Arizona to San Diego, California. Global positioning system. Thank you, Nigel. Let's get it right. If you're going to talk with the finance doctor, let's be accurate. Thank you. Now, they decided to set up their GPS, their global positioning system, and they decided that they were going to use that GPS to get from Phoenix, Arizona to San Diego, California. However, if you know anything about that area, there is a large amount of desert in between Phoenix and San Diego. Large amount of desert. What's the implication of that? The implication is, if there is a large amount of desert areas, then there's some areas in there where there are no cell phone towers. So what happened was, as this couple was traveling from Phoenix, Arizona to San Diego, California, there were some times when the GPS would malfunction. And when the GPS would malfunction, guess what happened? They were going backwards. They literally were off their course and moving back toward where they started. But then when the global positioning system was working, boom, they were going in the right way. Then it malfunctioned, boom, they were going in the wrong way. Then it was working, they were going the right way. Then it wasn't working, they were going the wrong way. Then it was working, they were going the right way. So this analogy is clear. Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego, California, GPS is working, they're going toward their destination. GPS is malfunctioning, they're going backwards. What is your point, finance doctor? My point is this. Phoenix, Arizona, master traders, represents where you are right now. San Diego, California represents where you are going, your desires, your goals, your objectives, the things that you are ready to accomplish. San Diego, desires, Phoenix, where you are right now. Your GPS, your emotions. Your emotions. I love taking the complexities of life and making them simple. Well, this is the simple truth. When you are feeling good, then you are in a vibration where you're moving towards your desires. When you're feeling bad, you're moving away from your desires. You're moving back to your past patterns. You're moving back to the old things you've done. You're returning to the same procrastination. You're returning to the same areas of failure. When you feel bad, you're moving in the opposite direction. When you feel good, that means you're experiencing energies like happiness, peace, joy, comfort, harmony. All of those things that make you feel good. Sometimes your list might be more specific than mine. You're chilling with your kids. You love nature. Whatever it is that makes your boat float. When you're feeling good, you're moving toward your goals. But if instead you're feeling bad and you're operating in low vibration energies like anger, frustration, guilt, shame, judgment. When you're operating in low vibration energies, guess what, people? You're going backwards. You're going away from your goals. Now, what a simple yet powerful reminder, because I will say it again. I never teach you guys anything on a Talk with the Finance Doctor. All I do is remind you of the truth that's already inside of you. So if we're truly going to take advantage of this $6.6 trillion industry, if we're truly going to take advantage of the I Am Academy educational platform, if we're truly going to touch 1 million families, we have to understand that it is the ability to manage our emotions that will keep us on the path to our destination, where any low vibration energy will take us backwards. So think about it. When you backtest your life, when you backtest what has happened, do you evaluate your backtest with positive vibrations? Do you look at what you've done in the past and smile about it, compliment yourself, feel peace, feel love? Or do you look at your backtest with low vibration energies? Let's do a little experiment. Let me test this theory. I would like for whoever would be willing to participate to type in the chat right now the answer to this question. Please share with me as many as you can remember of the 7 deadly sins. Please put as many of the 7 deadly sins as you can remember. Please type it in the chat. I'm asking you to participate by typing in the chat the 7 deadly sins. What are the 7 did y'all catch that? The devil was like, no, he's about to expose me. Let me turn the power off. No, don't let him do it. So let me look in the chat and see what you guys put. Murder, adultery, sloth, gluttony, stealing. Okay, so what I've asked you to do is type in the 7 deadly sins that you are aware of, and you did. Now, why am I asking you to do that? I'm asking you to do that because oftentimes when we backtest ourselves, we're way too critical. We look at things that we did, we look at mistakes that we made, we look at failures that we had, and we put way too much energy on it. We spend our energy focusing on the sin, focusing on the mistake, focusing on the failure. And when we do that, our back test doesn't really show the accuracy that we have. It's easy to back test the Be Your Own Bank cash strategy because all we have to do is look back and do the numbers. But when we back test our own accomplishments, we have a tendency to be overly critical. Think about it. Guilt is you being mad at yourself. Shame is you thinking other people are mad at you. It's a back test. It's not there anymore. It's the past. But if right now we're spending low vibration energies looking at our back test and complaining and feeling guilty about what we've done in the past, how are we possibly going to put ourselves in the best position to reach our goals? Now watch this. There are 7 heavenly items. There's 7 deadly sins, but there are also 7 heavenly items. So I'd like for you to put the 7 heavenly items in the chat, please. I asked you for the 7 deadly sins, you gave them to me. Now I want you to put the 7 heavenly items. Love, patience. So, Nigel, you are writing this speech for me. You are writing this speech for me. When I asked you guys to give me the 7 deadly sins, did you see how quickly those answers came out? Boom, 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 boom. Then I said, well, tell me the 7 heavenly items. And I got, I don't know. I got, I'm not sure. I got brain fog. So I'm not interested in the answer. What I'm interested in is recognizing that we have allowed this society to affect and impact the way we look at the world and the way we look at ourselves. We're so quick to see the sin, but so slow to see the growth. We're so quick to see the sin and so slow to see the opportunity. We're so quick to see the sin and so slow to see the opportunity that we had to get better, to grow stronger, to learn a lesson, to have an experience we can share with our children. So what I'm saying to you right now is so simple. Now, somebody just typed in the chat, it's so easy to be bad. But I think it's deeper than that. I think it's so easy to look at the bad. It's so easy to focus on the bad. When in reality, every single situation that we've ever experienced that we defined as bad, that we defined as a problem, that we defined as an issue, it was providentially and divinely assigned to us so that we could learn a lesson and be better. But you know what we do? We stay there. We think about it. We talk about it. We keep records of it. So what do you do when you find the example of the back test from your past? You recognize that you do the same thing that the rap and R&B artists do. You remix it. And you recognize that the back test, the low vibration energy, the guilt, the shame, the anger, the frustration, that was only there for one reason and one reason only, so that I could get some type of growth out of it. My GPS is moving toward my desires. My GPS is moving toward my wealth and abundance. My GPS has allowed me to join the Be Your Own Bank movement that only wants to coach, mentor, and talk about the good things we can do. We want to win on every trade. I am a master trader. All my trades end in profit. Well, you are a master person, and all of your experiences end in profit. You are a master person, and all of your experiences end in profit. To get there, you just have to look at your back test, look at the mistake, Look at the situation. Look at the problem. Look at what you're defining to be an issue. Looking at what you're calling a sin and realizing it was just an opportunity for you to grow. Sin is heavy. It's a heavy word. It feels heavy. I don't want the answer now, James. That wasn't my point. My point, and you guys made it so eloquently for me, y'all dropped those 7 deadly sins like this. Y'all had to go do some research to find the good ones. Oh my God, Kareem, why'd you tell me that? So I just need you to understand what's going on. And that is, we have allowed society to have us look at the world in a certain way. There's an old saying, what we resist will persist. So we spend so much time thinking about what we don't want and thinking about what we don't like and talking about what happened that wasn't good and feeling guilt and shame because of what we did in the past. And that story causes a heaviness that allows us to continue to repeat the process. Let that go. All we care about is today. I am a master trader. All of my trades end in profit. I am a master vibrator. All of my situations end in positivity. Right now, all we have to do is let go of all that negative back testing we've been doing and recognize right now, here you are. A king starting from this moment, a queen starting from this moment. I don't care what happened to you in your past. You don't care what happened to your past. And God surely doesn't care what happens to you in your past. What God cares about is now. What are you going to do right now, in this moment, with this rectangle, with this movement, with this company, with this skill set? What's your next move? Questions, comments, testimony. As you continue to back test your life, recognize that you too are operating at a 92% effectiveness rate. You just have to realize it, you have to recognize it, and you have to walk in it. You have to walk in your emotional swag, because here's what we know for sure. If you carry the heaviness of your negative evaluation of your back test, it will affect your trading. It will affect your ability to be the parent you want to be. It will affect your ability to be able to be all that you can be. This is a call about trading. This is a call about be your own bank. But in order for us to be your own, have you ever seen a bank that wasn't confident? You ever seen a bank that talked about the mistakes they make? Banks constantly walk in their swag. That's what we have to do. We're going to learn how to do this skill. We're going to control our infrastructure, and we're going to put ourselves in the best position. Ali just said, I made him see things I hadn't thought about. And that's the point. So understand that your goal now, Ali, is not to walk away and say, he made me see things I never thought about. But you've got to be the rectangle, and you've got to share this with people in your group. You got to share this with people in your family. You got to share this, because all we have to do is flip the perspective on ourselves, and we can do and have everything that we want. This has been a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex. And I really appreciate everyone listening. I really appreciate everyone absorbing this. I really appreciate everyone internalizing what's going on. I have someone who wants to say something, and absolutely. The name just popped out of the chat, but whoever you are, unmute your mic and please say it. Thank you so much, Marty.
Doc, this Kareem. It was a wonderful speech, and I want to elaborate on what you was talking about. I've been in a wheelchair 25 years. When I got paralyzed, it was in 1995. When I got paralyzed, it was like having a walking disease because it was new to everybody. When I got paralyzed, I couldn't move nothing. I had the halo on and everything. My doctors told me I wouldn't live past 10 years because they didn't know everything was new. From that point on, in the beginning, for me dwelling on what happened to me, I didn't believe I could live past 10 years. But 3 years in my situation, after me accepting who I am, what I am, and what God had planned for me, I've been in this wheelchair 25 years. I have 25 more years to go, and I love me. I mastered being in this wheelchair. If I'm sitting around you, you would never know that I'm in this wheelchair and I'm sitting next to you just from my conversation, the way I carry myself. If I would have dwelled on the mistakes I made in life or the way people looked at me, I would not be who I am today with the BYOB movement, with Mr. Roger and you and Miss Tasha as my mentors. I'm the strongest person you'll ever meet sitting in this wheelchair because I did not dwell on my past.
Kareem, I certainly appreciate you. That is by far the best way for us to end this conversation, because what you're saying to us is, this is a living application of this concept that's being talked about tonight. And I so appreciate you sharing that testimony with us. What choice do we have right now, y'all, but to leave this call and give our all, to love ourselves, to recognize that we are heavenly beings, that we are spiritual creatures having a bodily experience, and we are just blessed beyond measure. If Kareem can find blessing in his situation, we all can. So I agree with you, Marty. Kareem, you're definitely one of my heroes, starting right now. So thank you again for participating in a talk with the finance doctor. We'll see everyone tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Thank you so much for all of the positive things that you guys said in the chat. And please take the momentum of this call and use it. Give your children a special hug, a special kiss. Do something special and extraordinary tomorrow. Let's continue to operate in this momentum and meet all of our goals. That's 5 a.m. Eastern. This has been a talk with the finance doctor, and this will officially end this call. Good night, everybody.